I sat in my high school's library. Before me was the AP US History exam, and then I start to laugh. In my introductory paragraph on Andrew Jackson, I decided to write Bush did 9/11, and then I put a line through it because, as I understood the rules, that meant the grader was not allowed to grade it. And then I continued with the rest of my essay as though everything was normal, and that I ended up getting the highest possible score on the test. Record scratch, freeze frame, yup, that's me. Friends, enemies, innocent bystanders, welcome to another free for all. This is I Do Things to Be Liked and It's Harmful. This is the story of how all of the silly antics that I do in my life to try and get ahead a little bit professionally have backfired in my personal life and caused a lot of harm. Okay, maybe it's not that bad, but let's break it down, starting with the AP US History test. So, in this situation, my thinking was that my grader in the grading factory, when they saw this little joke that I'd put in the middle of my essay, they'd think it's hilarious, they'd be in light spirits, and then they would grade my essay better. And this is kind of a pattern for me where I do these silly little gimmicks to hopefully try and get out ahead a little bit. So, for example, with my student body president election video, I flew to Washington, D.C. to record it, and then I ended up winning. In my essay for Columbia, I called out the other essays for being too cliched. I literally wrote, "Oh, stop. I'm sure this essay has been written many times." And then I ended up getting in. So these tactics have very much worked for me in a lot of ways, but they've also subtly reinforced this idea that if I want to stand out, I'm going to need to sneak in the back door, that I need to wow my evaluators with my quirky uniqueness in order to get them to notice me. And this has bled into my social life as well. I often find myself running bits like I'm in an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm. So, one example was in the Adoration Chapel at MIT, where I'm a student. They have an air conditioner, and I would often turn it on and then forget to turn it off. And one time, this girl confronts me about it, and she's like, "Oh, you need to turn off the air conditioner." And I was like, wow, this is a great opportunity to run a bit that I like to call weaponizing I language. And I say to her, when you're criticizing someone, it's best to use I statements. So I'll start first. When you tell me that I need to remember to turn off the air conditioning, I feel harmed and attacked. And she just looks at me like, WTF is this guy doing? And she's just like, I feel like you need to remember to turn off the air conditioning when you leave. And looking back, I'm just like, yikes, like, why did I do that? Like, why did I feel the need to turn this like completely normal interaction into this quirky little bit? And yeah, my whole life, I've often felt like I need to perform in order to have the social relationships that I want. I mean, I literally created a dating podcast. And part of the reason, if we're being completely honest, why I did that is because I wanted to stand out on Hinge. And I felt like if I had a normal profile, then I wouldn't stand out. And honestly, I think there's some good to this. Like, I like my sense of humor. I like the fact that I'm the type of person who was willing to be bold and actually create this dating podcast. I know that my sense of humor is out there and it's not for everyone. And it's important for me to accept that. And I will say that my best relationships in terms of friendship have been with people who see me with all of my flaws and they still accept me for who I am. My point here is not that I'm just this habitually fake person, but rather that I often find myself using performance to avoid true authenticity with others. I like humor, I like irony, I like the tension of not knowing if something is quite real. One example of this that I think is great, and I think it's probably the best show on television, the single best piece of television ever created, the second season of The Rehearsal with Nathan Fielder. In it, he addresses aviation safety through an absurd, elaborate joke, but the whole time, is he not just actually addressing aviation safety? Is he not pointing out flaws in a system that is in a way that a safety report just can't? My point here is that irony can be very powerful. It can call out falsehoods in ways that the calling them out directly just can't, and it can be a lot more incisive. But irony can also become a cage. The premise can become permanent, and the truth fails to escape. And I've seen this in my own life. Once upon a time, there was this group of friends who I really liked and I got along with, and I wanted to grow closer. And in the process of wanting to get closer to them, I sort of started acting out. And through acting out and being desperate for attention, I slowly pushed them away. I remember that the next time I got invited to their house, a bit that I wanted to do was to take a framed photo of my friend and put it on the wall like he was some member of their family. But alas, the invitation never came. I had pushed them away. The same protection mechanism that allowed me to be quirky and unique and call out all the other cliched college essays turned out to be the opposite and actually ended up harming me in a lot of ways because it reinforced this idea that I can't get in the front door and that I can't just be myself, that I need to do these out there things to be liked. And there were even times where I convinced myself that this show I was putting on was the real me, and that to not put on this show would be to abandon being my true self. But regardless, I got harmed a lot in this process, and it's part of what led me back to counseling. It's also what got me started going to a 12-step group called Codependence Anonymous. And both of these mechanisms I think are great. So with counseling, it's awesome because I'm forced to be genuine. I know that if I don't put the full truth out there, like one, she's going to see right through it, and two, I'm not going to get the help that I need. And with the 12-step group that I'm in, I think it's great because I know it's a safe zone. Like these people are sharing their lowest lows, I'm sharing my lowest lows, and I know that they can relate and that I could say just about anything, put just about anything out there and they would get it, and also that I won't feel judged. And yeah, I'm more aware of this now, but I still definitely see myself falling into the same patterns. Like the awareness doesn't get rid of it, but still I hope that, the next day I might do better. But yeah, it's definitely very pervasive. So yeah, that's the video. My hope in making it is that you might find this relatable, that it might be helpful to someone out there. And that, my friends, is our free for all.